What's going on, y'all? Hope everybody's doing good. This week we're going to be talking about a new Steel app coming out soon. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, I guess, whenever Rodrigo gives me the green flag. Met with Rodrigo maybe a couple times. The last time was maybe a month ago, and it's really cool to see how far this has came even since we last met. There's a lot more resources becoming available for steel players in the last couple years, and this is just another example of that. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm still very new to it and still kind of diving in, but I thought it'd be cool to just do a somewhat short video and show you what it's capable of. And things like this, I think the best thing to do is just dig in and mess around with it yourself. But just to give you a view of what it does, we're on the website here. I'm going to tag this in the description if you want to go check it out for yourself. But this app is basically going to do, it has 4 modes. We'll get that into a second. I just wanted to show you the About section. If you want to pause this and read it, you're more than welcome, or go check out the website. But Rodrigo is a steel player based in Mexico. He's also a coder. Hence, basically this section is just saying he created this for himself at first, and then he thought it'd be cool to add a feature where people could put in their own copedants and own setups and use it for, their own practice. So here's the user manual, and this just kind of is a general overview. Getting into some basic stuff. There'll be 2 tiers. This is a one-time purchase, which I really like. It also comes with a free 10-day trial. I love that it's one-time purchase, though. Everything in the world now is a subscription. I'll also tag this in the description if I'm able. But if not, you would get it, off his website. The app, you can see up at the top, we got 4 main sections: Chord Finder, Scale Finder, Chord Decipher, and Voice Leader. And then here we also have a copedant section. You can input your own. Rodrigo's got Buddies, standard E9 and C6 already on here. So for the sake of time, we'll just use Buddies. But I know a lot of guys' setups vary, so you could input your own. Yeah, so Chord Finder is exactly what it sounds like, finding chords. You can see we got a lot of options over here. Just for an example, we'll just do a plain old C major triad, and up here is where you change it to whatever key you want. One other feature, this is pretty much on all the sections, but you can change how the intervals show versus as numbers like root, major third, perfect fifth, or as symbols. I personally like symbols. So yeah. And you can see down here it pops up a bunch of options. We can sort by easiness. We can sort by fret numbers, so 1, 2, 3, and so on. And obviously, some of them are going to be very complex. Fret C is not really meant to be played on fret 2, which is why you would see this. A lot of pedals combinations. So typically easiest is what you'd want to leave it on. Like here, fret 8 would just be a C with no pedals or levers, just completely open. You can also sort it by favorites. You can see over here we have star icons, and you can favorite things and label and make different folders that would come up here. Then you can eventually print those out, not only with chords, but with scales, and things of that nature. Again, you can change how the notes display. Probably one of the coolest features, I think, of this whole app is the fact that you can hear things arpeggiated or plucked. And then you can also mute strings. And then this wouldn't happen on here, but say you were using like your second string lower and your A pedal, it'd be a unison. There would be an option up here that would pull up unison, and you could pick which one you wanted to keep or if you just wanted to get rid of all of them. There's a lot of little intricacies like that throughout the website, and I think the best thing to do is just dive in for yourself, and you'll figure it out as you go. But yeah, we'll just try to keep it simple for the sake of the video. But yeah, and then through the Chord Finder, you can also find scales, which would take you to the next section, Scale Finder. And you can see we can search scales, and again, we have a ton of scale options. One very usable one would be the minor pentatonic. We'll do that one for an example. You can see here, now we have options to engage different pedals and levers. And the app knows, like for example, if I have A and B down here and I try to put C, it knows that I can't, put down more than 2 pedals at once. Same thing with like E lower and E raise. It knows that's impossible. And I have seen apps like this in the past, but I've never really liked the layout of them. And again, one feature already mentioned that I think is really cool with this is that you can click on notes and hear what they sound like. And it also shows you the notes and the intervals in this said scale. You can change the speed. You can change the direction of how it's played. Like let's do a down up. And then you can also hear how it sounds against different chords. Just really interesting. And then, of course, you can adjust the speed, and then your chord volume, scale volume, etc. So this would be what I would feel like I would use the most. Maybe Chord Decipher too. I know a little theory, I know the number system, but I couldn't tell you without really hard thinking about it what all the notes are in a scale. I mean, especially stuff outside of the pentatonic. It's only a 5-note scale, but you get into some of these other scales that are more exotic, and you can see we got all kinds on here. And if you're a country player, you're obviously not going to use all these. You'll probably be stuck in major and some pentatonic modes. You can see here we have some descriptions of some of these different scales if you don't know what they are. For example, let's hear that one. And you can kind of mess around with your pedals and levers. I know one thing that happens to me quite a bit, if you're lucky to be in a band with a guitar player that knows his theory well, sometimes I'll be trying to harmonize on a lick with the guitar player, and he'll be shouting out numbers to me or notes, and I have to sit there and really think about it. I almost just have to try to figure it out by ear. But if we're in the middle of a rehearsal or something, I don't want to be taking up everybody's time. So a lot of time what I'll do is I'll just record the guitar player playing that part, and he might throw out the numbers or notes at me, and then I'll come home later and try to figure it out so I have it down for the next practice or gig. And this could be a really helpful tool for that, trying to figure out the easiest way to play a harmony part on your own or with the guitar or whatever. Yeah, then Chord Decipher is another really cool feature. If you ever play something and you like the sound of it, but you don't know what it would be called, not that you necessarily have to, but I think it's good to, especially as you grow as a musician. So, like I was talking about with guitar players, you can speak the language, if he needs to know what you're playing to harmonize with you or whatever. But I'm going to put a little clip in here showing an example of this in between. Yeah, so one really interesting voicing I like to do a lot, and I never knew what it was until I used this app. But let's say we're in the key of E. I use that to endings to songs sometimes. It's almost, it's an old Johnny Bush song too. I can't, Sound of a Heartache maybe. But, we're A and B for E on the 7th fret. We're sliding down to the 3rd fret. We're on strings 8, 5, and 6, and sometimes like throwing string 7 in there. We're going to have our E's lowered. And we're just letting out of our E's, and then going into our F lever while we let off B. And that's our A and F for E. And then if I don't want to mute the 7th string, I can just raise it an octave to be an octave with 6. And then when I was playing, we'll say E, so we're on fret 3. I think I had my A and B down, and then my E lower, and I was playing 8, 7, 6, and 5. And I never knew what that chord was. And here it gives you a bunch of options. And typically the first 1 or 2 is going to be what it is, but it gets more complicated as you go down. And then again, you can arpeggiate it or pluck it, and throw out strings. So just a cool feature. Then the last feature would be voice leader. I haven't had a ton of time to mess around with this yet, but I am going to put up a video of Rodrigo kind of walking through it. I think he did a full-on version of Hotel California. He explains it a lot better than I did, so I'm going to go back to our Zoom and try not to make it too long, but clip up kind of him explaining it. So hopefully you'll stick around for that. But there's a lot of cool features in this app. I think it'd be really useful, especially learning some theory. And yeah, just another great resource for steel community. Rodrigo's worked really hard on it. But yeah, appreciate y'all checking it out. Like I said, I'm going to put this up on YouTube whenever he gives me the green flag and says it's officially released. But yeah, hopefully y'all go check it out. Like, there is a 10-day trial. Price-wise, I think you can check out the website, obviously, but I think it's very fair and it's a one-time purchase, which I really like. It will be only on PC. He's got a Mac, like I have, or a Windows version. I don't think he has any plans to do a mobile, just because it's, as you can see, it's a lot. It'd be too much to cram onto an iPhone screen or an Android screen. But yeah. But yeah, we'll go to the voice leading section now.
The voice leader mode. This is the last one, and I'm really, really excited about this one. In this one, you can input the chords in the measures right here. So, for example, I can say, well, I'm on the key of C, so it'll give me like the cycle of fifths circle, highlighting the chords of the C major scale, and I can then choose from here. Okay, put a C chord there, and then maybe here put an F chord, and then here on the first beat of the second measure put an, I don't know, a D minor, and let's say a G. And if you want to go deeper and want some other chords, we can click here on more chords, and it'll show me the list of the same chords that we had on the Chord Finder, deeper, and we can, like, for example, choose, I don't know, maybe I don't know, an altered G sharp 5 to get a little jazzier. Maybe, I don't know, let's say, for example, an F6, F major 6, I don't know. And once you are inputting your chords, you can see them being created right down here on the tablature. They all work the same as in Chord Finder. You can turn strings on or off. You can change the inversion or look for it in different frets. Right, so that's the C major chord. You can see the one on the 8th fret, the open one, and so on. You can choose them from a list, of course, as well. You can you can filter intervals when the chord has more than 3 notes, like in this case. You can filter out some intervals if you wish for, and refresh the results. And because sometimes if the chord has maybe 6 notes, if you're looking for a 11th chord or a 13th chord, maybe your bass player is playing the 5th and you don't really need that note on your chord, because you know there's other instruments playing other notes of the chord, so you might want to filter out some notes and make it more concise to how you want it to sound, right? And after that, what the app also can do is rearrange these chords in a different way. No, I can hear the arrangement that I have right now. It will sound like this. Well, those last chords were a bit weird, but anyway, that's how it's sounding like this with these inversions on these frets. But I can tell the app also to rearrange them in a different way. I could say, for example, start on fret 1 and with a fret range from 0 to fret 11, and do jumps of, let's say, 2 frets between each chord and going up. No, so then starting on fret 1 and starts to jump up from chord to chord, and it'll sound like progressively going up, you know? You know? And this is really fun because it does a looping motion. So if I would say, like, do a bigger fret jump, it will go from 1 to 7 in this case, because I'm doing a 6 fret jump, and from 7 it will, we don't have the fret range is only until 11, so instead of going to 14 it will jump back to 0 and do like a looping back motion. So it's giving me like 1 7 1 6 1 6. Let's do maybe smaller. Let's do, for example, 4. So it's 1 4 8 1 6 9. It's doing like different ways of jumping between the chords, no? So this is really fun, like to explore different variations of the chords that you're looking for. So just as an example, let me show you, for example, you can save, of course, the chord progressions, and so any chord progression can go with any copyright, but then you can also save the voice leading, and these ones are related to a copyright specifically, because of course the chords are different in different copyrights, right? So for example, let me show you an example that I did it on the 12th string. So if I change it, so right here in the I did an example of Hotel California, for example. So I input the chords of of the full song, and then I added the notes of the melody to the higher strings. So so we're starting with a B minor, and the melody, you know, well, let's hear it first so you see what I mean. The idea is that the notes of the melody are added to the chord, so I can do like a chord melody voice arranging, no? So let's hear what I did. There's one chord per beat, and you can hear, let's hear it. Oh, let me kill the click, because it sounds a bit tricky. So you see what I did there is, yeah, input the full chords, and then I go one by one and look for the ones that I like the combo that it's using, and find to get the high note with the melody there, so I could, you know, follow the full melody with the chord voicing under it. So I think it's really cool to be able to create your own arrangement, even if you're not in front of the pedal steel, and then maybe export this to a PDF, and then go to your instrument and practice those changes to get them right. And that's the idea of this mode, like to be able to create full arrangements, and then import them, and then export them as a PDF, and go to your instrument and work on it. No. As an example, I have added many chord progressions here from jazz standards, you know, like All of Me and Confirmation, and also like some, yeah, bossa novas, blue bossa, one note samba. This is a really nice one for the pedal steel, because, you know, you keep the melody on one note, but the chords are changing on the bottom. Really cool. Some classic blues progressions and some pop progressions, really cool, nice voicings, and even some chord practicing chord progressions like a 2-5-1, in a cycle of fourths. So you can, load the full this and then create a progression. Let's say in this case, I'm doing the same, starting at fret 0 and jumping one fret. So you see all the chords are there, and I can look for the variations that I really like and mute strings. You can mute full rows of strings if you want. So let's say I'm never going to use those really low strings. I'm just going to use from the 8th up or whatever. So it's very flexible on how you want to work with your arrangements, and then you can save the arrangement just as I show you with the Hotel California one, and then work with it even if you're not in front of your pedal steel, and then go to studying this very intricate instrument. So that's pretty much it. I think I missed maybe the thing of the managing favorites. When you create your favorites, you can then in the voice leader prioritize them in your progression. So if I click this button, when the app chooses the chords, it will prioritize all my favorite chords.
Cool.
So I will see more of those in the arrangement, and then I can edit them or change them or whatever. But the idea is that little by little you start to build your own library of favorite chords, and when you come here to the voice leading, you will see those chords being prioritized on your arrangements.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. It's been, I think it'll be very, very useful to players to explore the instrument even if they're not around it, and to find some different things maybe a little faster than just going by ear and by because I mean the pedal steel requires so much brain power, to know how the strings move and how the pedals work on the strings. And the idea here is to make it a little easier and to keep your brain easy and do the work, the mathematical work with a computer, because that's pretty much what it
Hopefully
is.
that gives you a good overview of the app. Definitely go check it out. Big shout out to Rodrigo. And also, as far as my channel goes, anybody that's been watching or just started watching, I appreciate all the support. Anybody that's been subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing, any of that good stuff. Keep checking in. I guess we'll see you in the next one. And go check out Pedal Steel Guitar Compass. See y'all.